Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel S2T. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about Zcam E2 F8 aka Zcam 8K. So let's dive right into it. Well, first we have to understand what the heck we are talking about. We are talking about a small and compact cinema camera. Now, why that is important? Well, in cinema industry, almost everything is done externally. Basically, how do you pull focus? You have somebody else whose job is to pull focus. You don't rely on autofocus. You have someone else. Same goes with image stabilization. You put it on a gimbal, you put it on a glide cam or something like that. But you do not rely on the equipments inside the camera to do those jobs. So making a small and compact camera has some benefits. One of the primary benefits will be right now there is a whole plethora of gimbals that are relatively affordable and they can handle a relatively heavy camera. But if you can make your camera cheaper, those gimbal prices go down and you can get better performance out of better battery life out of those things. So using a lighter small camera becomes advantage. And on top of that, let's say you're doing run and gun where you are like holding the glide cam or something physically holding onto, and then your person is running around all day. Having a small and lightweight, that means your person will not fatigue that much. And if you have to take multiple takes in a day, that becomes an issue. And like let's say large production houses like let's say Endgame, you will have multiple camera person. If they have to run around, they will like multiple camera. Like if this person gets tired or something happens, there is another one backup, hot spare, so to say. But many startups and small movies, they cannot afford that. This allows you to do those sorts of expensive things, and it has full frame. Now full frame is becoming the next standard. Why is that? Well, full frame is 150 years old. Now full frame reel is used like this, basically horizontally for a normal camera. Now people wanted to use that same architecture, same manufacturing process for making movie cameras, but problem was to rotate it like this way. Basically, even if you made it like this, rotating it was too damn expensive. Like, so you wanted to rotate it as less as possible and also give you much more control, because you have seen the very old cameras, they had like man person had to spin it, and that was not very reliable. So to get more out of the limited amount of rotation they had, they simply made the film, instead of going basically frames in that roll, they inverted that roll. That is why it became Super 35 aka Ep86 size. So they took the roll that was like this, they made it like this and made the frame does not rotate with it. So side effect, it allow basically shrunk the field of view. Benefit, it allows you to use same infrastructure of 150 years old infrastructure to make films. That's how that Super 35 became a quote unquote standard for movie industry. However, even back as in like 1969 aka moon landing year, people wanted to do high quality work and they relied on bigger frames. To give you a simple example, Universal Picture talked with NASA and they are like, we're gonna record this for a like bigger budget movie, and they did all the recording, and it's all true recording done at that same time. And when the first time you will see that Neil Armstrong in 4K, proper HDR, I'm genuinely gonna say, like, you might think, hey, this is a recreation. No way the footage can be that clean or that awesome. It is that because they used a bigger frame. Like, physics is simple on that. Bigger is better. That is why we build bigger telescopes. That is why we build bigger lenses. There is no going around it. You cannot have like small sensors, small lenses. That's why people wouldn't buy a DSLR. They will be like, yeah, my mobile can do everything. So giving full frame on such a small compact thing, that opens up boundaries, because movie industry is learning that, like, the sensor is not that expensive, it's just the processor behind it. So they're like, Red started to push that, and then RE comes along, it's like, 65 millimeter, that's like bigger than full frame. That's a medium format that was used for Endgame and Joker and Infinity War, and other movies are also working that. Like, that allows you like a razor sharp, what we call depth of field, and allows you ludicrously wide dynamic range. Even Christopher Nolan is a big fan of medium format systems. So you get the idea. Like, the reality is people want larger system. APS-C is dying out in cinema. Even Red started to release something that VV format, which is more or less full frame. So giving full frame and high resolution is becoming the trend. So investing in this trend right now, basically your lens, your equipments, if all of them are full frame ready right now, you will be settled for much longer rather than buying on APS-C system aka Super 35 right now. So this utilizes two systems. One of them is Canon EF system, which is like largest selection of full frame glass. Then you have Cinema PL mount. So you have to understand, PL mount is designed completely externally. So aka it does not have focus system, does not have aperture motor, nothing. It has nothing. You have to. That is why they have so many teeth. You have to have a physical motor doing that job externally, or a focus puller. Now they are amazing, quality. However, they are expensive as hell. So what is the unique selling point of this puppy, Zcam E2? You have to understand, this is cheap. When I'm saying cheap, I truly mean that. This is $6,000 or Indian rupees, that's 4.5 lakhs. Now again, it's expensive than Sony A7 Mark 3, but you have to understand, Sony A7 Mark 3 nowhere near this puppy costs $2,000. So this is barely three times more, and it has so much potential in terms of video output that it smokes it. It's like, bro, you don't even come close to me. So having that kind of oomph in video department is amazing. It's unheard of, because I provided some video links down below, and you can see that like they were comparing this camera release to or first 4K camera cinema camera release. But first 4K was that came out was like around $15,000. This came out in $6,000. 8K, which is four times more energy requirement, and they came out at $6,000, which is free comparatively speaking. Like there are cameras, like even if you want to buy a red or basically rent those cameras, you have to pay that kind of money in down payment. Again, if you return the camera intact, they will pay you back, but you get the idea. Like that amount of capital you have to lock, or you can just buy this camera. So the cost is dramatically low. Like it is so low that there are YouTubers who can afford this, like a proper thing. Like, yeah, I bought this. And you have to understand, the recent years a new boom has happened, what we call corporate shoots. Because you have to, we know about, like, wedding, televisions and cinema, but there is a gap in between where you have TV and basically wedding. The corporate world started to creep in, and corporate world had the luxury of time. They did not make, like, 10 episodes a week or something like that, crazy like that. So they had the luxury of time, but they wanted quality. So people started renting cinema camera for that. Then the black magic community is like, I'm like the corporate company, they're like, I think we can exploit that, and they started releasing cameras that did not make sense. It's like, it's TV camera, but why the heck it has features of cinema camera? They were targeting that market, corporate market, and slowly that started to cover. Seeing that, other companies started coming in, which included Kfinity and Zcam. Now these three companies right now, they are giving you camera that is literally, if not absolutely matches the performance of a RE or a red camera, but not perfect. Like if you want highlight roll off on his human skin, RE is your guy. And if you want, like, that crispy, that sci-fi kind of looking feel, you have to get a red. Can these camera compete? Almost, but you can still tell. But it's no longer like, oh, this is a mobile phone, or this is a DSLR, or this is a red. It's no longer that. It's very crisp, like very close. And if you have a talented DP with experienced pipeline, you're gonna get it done. So having that and the CFast, now that is the only flaw in the system I can see, but I think that is because Z camera, they have been making camera for past 3-4 years. I think they had a mold that had CFast. CFast is a dying system because Compact Flash Association, they went with Sony and they made a partner, and they made a baby known as Compact Flash Express. So Compact Flash Express is just an upgraded version of XQD. So this CFast is dying. So right now there is only few weird cameras that utilize it. One of them is Canon, another is Blackmagic RE, and this puppy. So it's kind of odd why they are using this, but I think this was under production very long ago. So that is why it has that. But I'm reasonably sure if they make next generation, they will use Compact Flash Express card. They are much faster because this puppy is limited to 500 Mbps, and if you are pushing 8K at 1.2 gigabyte per second, gigabits, this is almost pushing it. It's like almost reaching its maximum point. So it's like, I think that was the only complaint I can tangibly say to them. It's like, bro, you should have used Express system. And Kfinity, I like it simply because even though they are using the same SATA 3 interface like this puppy, but they use a normal SSD. You can plug a normal SSD in, so at least you'll get cheap media that way. So that's the only flaw I can find. But another aspect, they have electronic ND, which so far is the first I can find in this kind of price range, because you have to, this is the selling point of Sony's FS system. Sony's, like, many TV production like that for that exact reason. The video quality is not the most amazing, it's more than good enough, but if you're going in and out from outdoor and indoor lighting, or a lighting change, cloud going by, having electronic ND makes a whole world of difference. This puppy has that. This is the first time I'm finding this out. So you can just swap it out, and, like, again, you can buy it without that, and then you can add it on once you have the money, because it is kind of expensive, but at least you have that option. So that is quite amazing, electronic ND, and it can do 8K at 30 frames per second, not 24, 30 frames per second. So that is quite amazing, but do not expect 8K 60 frames per second. It cannot do anything like that. 8K, it's like maximum 30 frames per second, but it does do that at 12-bit Z raw format. That is more than good enough. Like, that's rich. And this puppy can do 4K 10-bit HDMI output, aka if you want to do live streaming, and I mean television grade live streaming where 10-bit is necessary, this puppy can handle that. So it's quite amazing camera for what it is, for the size and the compactness and all that jazz. That's quite amazing for that. And it, like, they are even figuring out how to heck get like 8K footage out of the Ethernet port out there, so you can do YouTube streaming in 8K. Again, even though YouTube cannot absorb it right now, if they can design the hardware, sooner or later the companies will go to 8K, especially with after the Olympics, because Olympics supposed to be shot at 8K. But let's see whether the Olympics takes place or not. So unique selling point of this camera is quite unique. Like, it has 8K, it has full frame, which is a very big deal, and it has dual ISO. Now the only camera that can come even close is Canon C500 Mark II, which is like $15,000 compared to, like, 6,000 of this, and only does 4K properly, but it can do 4K 60. However, be mindful, if you buy this camera, do not use it for 6K mode, because in 6K mode it has to crop in at 4, because 4 to 6 it's a weird jump. 4 to 8 is a double jump. Basically every pixel becomes 4 pixel, so that is super easy to jump in or jump out. But 4 to 6 is not a weird jump. So if you want 6K, you're like, hey, I can't handle 8K footage, and like, my computer cannot handle that, do not buy this and like, I'm gonna use it in 6K mode. Do not do that, it would be a bad idea. That's why they released a specific 6K model. So if you want to do 4K or 8K, buy this. If you want to 6K, there is a model that is in between. But the file sizes on this puppy is quite small, like genuinely small. It's like, even with a 12-bit zero, the file compression is quite good. Now, why this random camera company and all that jazz? What happened to, like, Canon and JCV and all that jazz? You have to understand this new market of corporate shoots and, like, indie movies and all that, they have exploded recently. Like, it's become something so big that nobody can ignore it. No camera manufacturer can ignore this, and you can easily see that. Like, you see how Canon was releasing their cinema lineup cameras, aka C cameras. They were like, oh, we're not gonna give this feature, not that feature, not that. After Kfinity comes along and is slowly starting to become popular, a no-name brand, people are yet putting their money into that simply because of the feature set and the quality and price to performance output. Canon first time releases Canon C500 Mark II, which was quite amazing for Canon. Why? Canon gave you user replaceable parts, like you can change them out, user replace. That was like, whoa, Canon is doing that. Dual basically compact flash express card, so you can have like a marathon recording, or you can do like backup recording, which is a better option, and you can do proxy on a third card. So that was amazing. And then you had like electronic viewfinder, which you can user replace. So those are subtle things that Canon did, which Canon was like, no, you want electronic viewfinder, you go to C300. You want this, you go to this. First C500 was the first time they were like, dude, Canon is going all out. The reason for there is a new market right now of affordable pro level camera. These cameras are not as like awesome as basically they cannot last as long as a TV camera. TV cameras are the longest running cameras you can buy. Like you buy a TV camera, it's like, yeah, it's been running for 10 years. You buy a cinema camera, they are giving you the best quality feasible, but they cost an arm and leg. This puppy is somewhere in between, where it's like the quality almost touches a red, almost touches RE, and it's almost there, versus and it also has the endurance of a TV like world. That is why Blackmagic jumped into this puppy. So the market has exploded, like from Blackmagic for pocket cinema 4K to this puppies, and this market is getting very crowded very quickly. So small and feature rich, and you have to understand this electronic viewfinder, there is no way you can replicate this in any way other than Sony so far. So if you want to use Canon lenses and you don't need operative focus, you can buy this and get full frame 8K, which even Canon itself cannot do. So amazing features are available right now. And if you want to do live streaming on it cheap, this can do that, like with proper 4K 10 bits. So you can even have, like, let's say crash cams, where you're going to destroy the camera is not too expensive for car crashes and all that, and you can have live streaming, so you can directly record the file out of that camera. So, and the benefit happens is not in that, like, oh, you have to buy a monitor. The benefit is that you can buy the monitor you want, because Canon, let's say Canon C500 Mark II, it's a bigger monitor, but it's 3 inches. Today is 3 inches, not 6 inches, not 7 inches, not 10 inches. Here you can choose, like bro, I need 10 inches. You can buy some Atomos Ninja or something bigger than that. I think Oblivion is there, that makes bigger ones. You can buy those, and you're like, hey, 5 inches is more than enough. You can buy 5 inches. Hey, I want backup recording, because this does not have dual card slot. You can have a recording system that allows you to do that. So amazing level of readiness is there, because it's like, I'm gonna give you the bare minimum of the camera, how Red started, but they're like, do whatever you want. Red like locks it, handle is like 800. They are like, whole body has like multiple holes, so you don't even need a cage. You can use the camera itself as a cage if you want. So the money that you save from instead of buying a super expensive camera or renting a super expensive camera, you can put in lens. That's the best way to utilize that money. Or you can put it in video editor, sound editor, things of that nature. So this whole new market of corporate shoot is starting to bring super expensive quality into super affordable price, because $6,000, That's like Sony level price. It's like, bro, it's like free. So that is why I'm making it. I'm not going into technical detail or this as that. It's good enough. It's a cinema camera. It's good enough. It's full frame. It has dual ISO. It's more than good enough. Can it like truly beat RE or Red? No, hell no. But can it goes like, almost hang on there, like, punch above its weight cut? Absolutely. But the moment you see the price difference, that's like, dude, you can hire extra actors on that kind of cost. So that's why these sort of camera companies are like slowly encompassing the market, and companies have started to respond. Like Red started to release a specific camera that is made for renting market, which has every plug port, everything built in, pre-built. So they don't have to like, oh, I bought the camera, then I have to buy this, then I have to buy that to do it. No, it's like all in one. So these companies, basically Blackmagic, Zcam, and Kifinity, they are shaking up the game, so to say. So this was my presentation on this new breed of like 8K full frame camera. I hope you liked it, learn from it, and you need more details, you can always check the video down below. And please click the like button, share it amongst your friends, that will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me your disappointment, and please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.